Hello, my name is Dante Renee, and welcome to the 10 Room Bizarro YouTube page where I talk about films that I believe need to be talked about more. Like tonight's film, 1987's unknown and very rare film called Run, Coyote Run. Let me try to get the artwork here. Of course, I'm having a problem, but let's get to it. This is the front of the VHS. And this, I believe, the only way that it's available is through this release from Mondo Video and Bleeding Skull Video. They released this in 2014 in a limited edition VHS, and this is from 1987. It's 72 minutes long, and this is Run, Coyote Run. Here it is, folks, right here. Sorry about this crazy glare. But here it is, and this is the tape, and this is the back of the tape. You can see Mondo Video right there. You can see Bleeding Skull Video. Bleeding Skull Video put out a book a few years back dealing with all these types of obscure films, obscure genre films, exploitation, horror, and such. And Run, Coyote, Run. Let's get into this 1987 film because I really got to tell you, I've never seen anything quite like this 72-minute movie before, and it's my pleasure to talk about it here on this YouTube page. So, this is a film that details a kind of a psychic's entrance into the past and linking the present to the past. She's using her medium psychic ability to figure out how, I believe, her sister died. And the movie takes you through this, and actually jarringly so, as sometimes you're not aware if what you're watching is happening in the present or if it's actually happening in the psychic's ahead as she's revisiting the past, or seeing things in the present and seeing what happened there in the past as she's trying to figure out how her sister died. So this is how the movie happens. And I have a lot of notes here, so let's get into this thing because there's a lot of stuff packed into this 72-minute movie, and this is a weird, bizarre ride. Let's do it. The first and foremost, let's look at the music for this film. There is tons of music in this film. Tons of awesome music in this film. So we have kind of like sci-fi sounding, spacey, spacious type music. We have hard rock. We have blues guitars, some stuff that you might have heard in that film, the Hollywood film, like Black Snake Moan sounding some of it. We have piano pieces. Lots of synthesizer, atmospheric, dark, and also weird, groovy 80s, almost reminding me a bit of the score music to the film The Lost Empire, which I reviewed that movie on this YouTube page. You can check that out. We have jazz, we have country music, and just plain weird sounding music. This is the music of Run, Coyote, Run, and it's pretty much wall-to-wall music in this film, and it's awesome. There's even a theme in the movie, or a couple themes in the film that kind of repeat themselves, and you want them to repeat themselves because it is such 80s underground, low-budget synth weirdness, just weirdness, looping weirdness. Now, when we get into this movie, I got to tell you, elements of the film look shot on video, but then other elements of the film definitely look like it was shot on film. Maybe 16 millimeter, not exactly sure. I believe this film is completely unknown, completely rare, and the film elements in here, you can see some film elements. That's why I'm saying I don't believe it's 100% shot on video. I don't know. The film elements are definitely beat up at times. The audio is beat up at times. The audio is hard to hear sometimes. But the music you can definitely hear all the time. So I made some notes here, so let's get into it, okay? Some random notes, as random as the flow of Run, Coyote, Run, okay? We have hot rods in this movie. We have car chases. We have a pulley in a car, or like a kind of a button in a car that makes the car go really fast. We have martial arts in the film. We have flashback style. weird timing to the film. As I told you before, we have a psychic, and she is trying to figure out the past, trying to figure out a murder. Okay, we have murder in the film. We have multiple murders in the film, but there's a main murder in the storyline. And so it makes the film very jarring. You're not exactly sure what is happening sometimes. The time scheme of what is happening, it's jarring. It's the way that the story unfolds is abrasive in terms of I mean, you're holding on for dear life because you're trying to make sense sometimes of what is happening in the best of ways, because it's so freaking weird. Elements of the film in terms of the atmosphere reminded me of the movie Streets with Christina Applegate, which I've also reviewed in this YouTube page. We have terrorists in the movie. We have lies and corruption and twists upon twists, especially at the end of the movie. Some real deception within deception, okay? A kind of a crazy ending, twist, funny, crazy, because of how it's going, how the deception plays out. I mean, there's deception upon deception happening very, very quickly. I believe I saw a piece of the title of this film in graffiti on a wall outside somewhere. I think it said Coyote and it was like crossed out, I think. Did they get the title from that graffiti? And because other than that, I'm not exactly sure. Nobody was called Coyote. There were no coyotes in the film. Really bizarre. Really, really bizarre. I think I saw a poster somewhere for the movie The Executioner. I believe it was The Executioner Part 1. I believe so. I know Vinegar Syndrome put out Executioner Part 2. But I believe there was a poster for The Executioner Part 1. We have religion in this movie. We have a really bizarre, corrupt type priest with a big cross, but he has a motorcycle jacket that says like something like almost like a Hell's Angel jacket. It's so bizarre. And then we have another priest who's like a monk who seems to be legit. And we have like some activity in we have a church environment in the film as well. We have topless torture that almost reminded me, like setting wise, from the film Last House on Dead End Street. Just the way the lighting looked, the way what was happening. It was just kind of disturbing. We have some weird editing in the film that cuts fast in a way that doesn't show you the completion of something and then goes back to it. It's very, very well done, and it adds really to the confusion of the viewer, but also a level of style. I mean, this is an extremely low budget film, okay? Extremely. But there's a lot of style in here. There's a lot of good angles with the camera. There's a great hallway shot. There's atmosphere to this film, nighttime and daytime. We're definitely in California here. And so you get the daytime California and you get the nighttime shots, nighttime driving shots, these creepy hallways, the hallways of a go-go bar. How could the hallway of a go-go bar be so atmospheric? And then we get into, you know, kind of the side streets of LA and Cayuga. Really reminded me, like I said, of that Christina Applegate film, Streets, with those LA type vibes and shots. And as I said, a go-go bar. Also, the desert, some desert with mountains that almost remind me of The Hills Have Eyes or Rob Zombie's The Devil's Rejects. We have a beach in the film as well. We go to the beach. We have really bloody fights in this film. And I would say all the fighting is really well done for a low-budget movie like this. The sound effects are really awesome for the fighting. And it really kind of elevates beyond what the budget is for this film. Really, really cool. But bloody, kind of brutal fist fights. Somebody being hit by a car against a wall. We have this montage sequence in the film where kind of weird things are going on and violence is happening to this 80s synth music where you can't actually hear the real sound of what is happening, but just the music. So there's this interesting montage sequence. A stuffed animal dog, a tape. You're not even sure what's going on with this tape or this dog. Needles, cars going off cliffs, prostitution, drugs. bomb explosions. The lead in this film, okay, like what would you call this film? I mean, horror, exploitation, mystery, bizarre, weird, surreal. But the lead in the film is an older lady. It's an older woman. This is not something you would typically see in a film like this. We have an older lady. And she's so intriguing. The way she looks, her idiosyncrasies, the way she kind of looks with her eyes. And the way she gets out of a car, the way she like looks past the camera. She's a very interesting way about her. This is a slasher film also. A man in a black hood. We have an axe to the head, brutal gore, mystery, murder. There's a glass shard to an eye. Tons, like these bloody ass gore scenes that you would see in like a 80s shot on video horror film. We have the mob. Okay, not just terrorism, we have the mob. And we have kind of a search through the film. And the searching in the film almost reminded me of a video game, as if I were playing a video game. This whole film, in a way, you're playing the lead character in the video game, and you're searching all these different areas, from apartments to hotels. There's an awesome flashing light of a hotel sign in somebody's dark apartment, I believe, as well. Weird characters. Double crossing, murders, car chases, martial arts fights, fist fights, street fights. It really felt like the video game searching kind of way. We also have, the nudity in the film is topless nudity, but we also have bits of kind of like the nudity with sexual violence. And there's just some... this is just a very bizarre film, and I love what they did with locations. This is a very low budget film that has tons of locations, and utilizing all of those locations with night and day shots really amps up the production value of this obscure, wild little film right here. This is 1987's Run, Coyote Run. Here it is, folks. Run, Coyote Run, and it's a limited edition VHS put out by Mondo Video. I don't know if they have any copies left, but I paid about, I think, $25 for this when it first came out in 2014, so a couple years back. And the back of the DVD, the back of the VHS has this summary. I'm going to read it to you because it's worthwhile. Organized crime, drug dealers, and a crazed priest join forces to cover up the murder of one of their kingpins. In a rampage of torture and violence, they eliminate witness after witness until Chris, willing to risk everything, beats them in a battle of guns, muscle, and martial arts. Run, Coyote, Run, folks. Thank you so much for watching the 10 Room Bizarro YouTube page, where I talk about films that I believe need to be talked about more, like 1987's 72-minute Run, Coyote, Run. Thank you so much, and have a good night.